Okay, this video is to get us ready for Game 3 in San Francisco. Great place for Game 3. It's going to be in the 80s. So I actually know a couple people who are going to this game. They have corporate seats. I'm super jealous, but I hope they have a good time. It's a good guy that's going, so... And before I get into that game, I want to say one more thing about the recap. One last note on the recap, and that's that I did think it was a mistake for Matt Williams to pull Jordan Zimmerman. Why would you do that? One walk, that's it. He gave up a walk. It didn't make any sense. I know he says, well, that's what I usually do, benefit of hindsight, blah, blah, blah. When he pulled Zimmerman, I said to myself, this is stupid. This doesn't make sense. You have a guy who's dominated the whole game, gives up one walk. Maybe he was afraid of that when Panic pulled the ball. I know with Posey coming up, but it just didn't. That was the biggest reason why it didn't make sense to pull Zimmerman. Posey hits 200 against Zimmerman career before that game. So, and it wasn't a small number of at-bats either. So, even though Posey had some success against Zimmerman in that game, it didn't make any sense to pull Zimmerman at that point, especially when he was just over 100 pitches. And it's not the worst, most egregious error in the world, but I think Matt Williams was showing his inexperience there, not going with the guy who'd given you 8 2/3 scoreless innings. That's just, it doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. We'll see if Matt Williams learns his lesson. Hopefully not. We can get a win out of this. But anyway. So yeah, this game, like I said in the previous video, I believe this game could be the whole series, believe it or not. And I say that because this is going to be our best chance to win. Bumgarner has proven he is a postseason performer. He's had a few rough games here and there in the postseason. Well, mostly just last year. He had, I think, a rough game in the postseason. But there's no reason to expect he'll have a rough game in particular because he is seems you'd think he'd be ready for the situation. You think he's got to be prepared, and given the way he's been pitching, there's nothing about his recent performances that suggest that he'll blow this game. But, that's not to say that this is any kind of a lock whatsoever, because looking at these stats, when I get to the stats here, we'll see just that he's not exactly doesn't have the greatest numbers against Nationals hitters. But what I did want to take a look at before I move on into that is his record against the Nationals in the past, because that might tell us a lot about how well he's going to do. So let's take a look career-wise against the Nationals. We are going to see what he can do. So, Washington Nationals, it looks like for his career, well, he's pitched pretty well for his career. He's got a career 2.60 ERA. He's 2-3. Not super encouraging, but he's got a 1.089 whip just like Hudson did against the Nationals. He's only had 45 innings, not nearly as many innings of history there. Seems like generally his control has been good. And his strikeout to walk ratio, 5.71, even better than Hudson. So, that's encouraging. We really need this one. We need to step on their necks now, because you can't let a team this good back into it. And when you think about it, where are we gonna go after Bumgarner? Vogelsong is the next option down the line. And not that I don't have faith in Vogelsong. I think he can be an effective pitcher, and he's shown a lot of skill this year. But he hasn't had a great record against the Nationals. Vogelsong has got lit up against the Nationals. I was there in 2012 for a game against the Nationals in San Francisco, where The score was 13-0, I think, by like the third inning or second inning or something. It was ridiculous. And Washington just jumped all over him. And that's a significant risk if Bumgarner can't finish this game off. The Nationals this year showed that they can jump all over us if we're not careful. And we lose a close game in this one, and then if they do, as they have in the past, jump on Bumgarner, they do as they have in the past, jump on Vogelsong, then suddenly the series is tied. It's going back to Washington, and they've got yet another great pitcher to throw out there. It'll probably go right back to Strasburg again. I do not want to tempt fate with a second Strasburg start in Washington. So I think this game is huge. We need to avoid Vogelsong in the next game. I think we need Vogelsong to be saved up for either the Dodgers or the Cardinals, and which I think he can be effective against them. But I'm not sure if Vogelsong can be effective against the Nationals, and I'm really not sure we can win a Game 5 in Washington. So this game is it. I believe that whoever wins this game will win the series. I don't think that the two games are nice. Certainly, it gives us a lot of chances, but I don't think it means jack until we win this game. So I think it all lies in the balance right now, and I'm going to be really sad to be doing a video after the 5th game saying that we blew our 2-0 lead. It's happened before. We know very well from the year where we were against Cincinnati. We made it happen. We do not want the same thing to happen to us. Let's kill this while we still can. We're going to need a performance from our hitters in this game. We're going to need to score at least 4, maybe 5 runs. If we're going to win this game, I think that has to happen. Certainly that hasn't been the trend this year. Without Pagan at home, generally we do not score. That previous game was looking like the kind of game you usually expect with Blanco in the leadoff spot, where guys, against Zimmerman, they just walk up there to be dispatched one after the other. They go through those long stretches where nobody gets a hit, and it just seems like they're going through the motions, and nothing's ever going to happen. And we don't want that kind of attitude settling in because, Fister is tough. He's had a great year. He's probably had... despite the fact that Bumgarner's won more games, I think Fister has better overall numbers for the year. So, we're better, at least numbers as far as hits and walks per nine. And Fister is definitely a control specialist. We've beaten Fister before, and I certainly believe Bumgarner can beat anybody when he's on. But it's a lot to ask of Bumgarner. He was on for the Pittsburgh game, and he's going to need to be on again. And, Bumgarner is tough in the postseason, I think, for the most part. I think he gets up for these big games. And I think we've got a good shot to pull off the sweep. I almost feel like it's necessary. I hate to say it, but that's what I think. Anyway, let's take a look at the numbers here. Now, the other thing that worries me a little bit is that there is some history against Bumgarner. There's some hitters who do pretty well, but let's start with Doug Fister first. Joe Panik 3 for 3 with a home run. So Joe Panik sees Doug Fister pretty well, and that's why I fully expect him to get at least 1 or 2 hits. I expect a couple of hits out of him, really. We might need a couple hits out of him because it doesn't look like we're going to get a couple hits out of Blanco. But anyway, so yeah, Panik. You're going to need to come up big in this one, kid. Sandoval, 4 for 5 with a double and a walk. So he's hitting .800 against Doug Fister. That's a good sign. We're going to need Pablo again. Hopefully he makes a showing. Buster Posey, 1 for 6 with a home run. So that's not too much of a history, but the home run is nice. Let's see, we got Crawford, 1 for 5, doesn't mean much. Hunter Pence, 1 for 6, doesn't mean much. Ishikawa, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, that might mean something. Of course, we don't have a lot of options at this point. You never know, Bochy might go with Juan Perez, but again, we saw that Juan Perez is not a major league hitter in the previous game. despite the fact that he's done an excellent job as a defensive replacement, and I have to, I guess, go back on saying maybe, I thought at first he shouldn't have been on the NLDS roster. I think at this point he's proven, at least for defensive purposes, that he's deserved to be on the roster, but I really don't want to see him get a start, so I don't know. You could see it just because Ishikawa hasn't had any success against Pfister whatsoever. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but if we're going to play somebody in left field, I'd rather see Gary Brown in this game than Ishikawa. In fact, I would not mind at all a Gary Brown and Blanco in the lineup, and maybe giving Brown a shot to lead off. I know that would be controversial, and it probably won't be done because that's not Bochy's way. But Blanco's done so little in the leadoff spot. I wouldn't mind seeing Gary Brown try to get on base with a bunt or, wreak some havoc on the bases. Anyway, then we got Blanco, who's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. I guess there isn't a lot of reason to expect much out of him in this game, but he probably will be the leadoff hitter in all likelihood. And I hope he at least manages to get one hit. Again, I'm just looking for at least one hit and one walk out of Blanco. If he can get one hit and one walk, he'll have done his job as far as I'm concerned. And now moving over to the history against Bumgarner. Well, we got this first scary thing is Rendon. Rendon has been hot. And this guy has given us a hard time, kind of like Ian Desmond has. He's 3 for 5 with a double. So, yeah, Rendon definitely, he's going to be a thorn in our side yet again. There's Drupal Cabrera, 2 for 3. He's been a thorn in our side. There's a few guys in this Nationals lineup that seem to victimize us a lot, at least this year. So is Drupal. He's going to be angry from the previous game. He's probably going to want revenge. Definitely someone to be careful with. Bryce Harper, 3 for 9 with a home run against Bumgarner. That's a little scary. Ian Desmond, 5 for 15. No home runs, but a couple of RBI. That's, 5 for 15 is a little more history. That's a little scary. Ramos, 2 for 8. Doesn't mean much. Espinoza, 4 for 13. We're only going to see him in a pinch hit appearance probably anyway. Could be dangerous as a pinch hitter, though. Adam LaRoche, 6 for 21. Not bad, not great. Someone to be careful of. Then you got Ryan Zimmerman, can't hit him at all, 176. Jason Worth, kind of neutralized, 2 for 11. Just not a huge sample size, but enough to make me think, well, Worth was supposed to be really good in the previous game, and I think he went 1 for 6. Didn't do much against Hudson, even though his numbers were great against Hudson. Hudson somehow must have done a lot of study to try to get Worth out, knowing he was going to be an issue. So I don't know how long can Worth go without being a factor, because he's really been a non-factor so far, and that's kind of a surprise. And Denard Span, 0 for 8, 125. Again, it's good to see that their leadoff hitter doesn't have great success against their starter, because leadoff is an important position when it comes to scoring runs. So that'll make things a little bit easier on Bumgarner. So yeah, that's it. There you have it. I really think we need to nip this thing in the bud right now. Give our older starters some time to rest, reset the rotation a little bit. Hopefully the Cardinals and Dodgers go to 7 games. I'm not super confident about this one, despite the fact that Bumgarner has pretty good stats against the Nats in his lifetime. It seems as if this group of Nats particularly, there's a lot of guys who definitely don't struggle too much against him. And it's gonna be a challenge. This is not gonna be a walk in the park, unless, of course, Bumgarner shows some of the World Series form that he's had in the past early on. Maybe he'll revert to his World Series style performance in the NLDS. That would be very nice. I think he's ready to pitch. I know Bumgarner wants this game real bad. So I think it's going to be awfully close. I'm definitely expecting a pitcher's duel. If it's not a pitcher's duel, we'll probably get blown out, which I hate to say, but I don't see Fister giving up a lot of runs here. And I don't see our lineup mustering a lot of runs. If they do score a lot of runs, I'll be surprised. But I think what we really need to expect to win this game is at least 4 runs. I think we scratch out 4 runs, I think we win. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need Blanco to perform a little better. We're going to need Panic to get some hits. We're going to need Pablo to do well. We're going to need the middle of the order to do well. And I'm not expecting it. I know I've come to expect mediocrity from the lineup when they come home with Blanco in the leadoff spot. They haven't shown a lot unless it's a day game, and tomorrow is a day game, so I think that's the one hope we have. I think day games with Blanco in the leadoff spot, they've had more success. So it's possible we could go off. Anything's possible. We could go off and score a bunch of runs tomorrow. But if I had to guess, I'd say the score is going to be something like 4-3, and hopefully it's us and not them. Anyway, enjoy the game. I will be with you for the post game afterwards, hopefully a little sooner than I made these videos, just really cutting it down to the wire. But think that it's going to be exciting one way or the other, and like I said, the whole series could rest on this, so let's get her done.